Hello everyone, this is Michelle. So I'm going to kind of hope and pray I can get through this video without a fly showing up and making me wonder what I've done to deserve this infestation of flies. I think it's because it's unnaturally warm out that, that they're out. Okay. It also could be a reason why I'm now having an infestation of ladybugs. Which, by the way, I advise you seriously, if you have animals, check the roof of their mouth. Because there was a photo of a dog that had ladybugs in the roof of his mouth. Okay. Hence why I'm working so hard to keep the ladybugs away from my cat. Okay. So, this is, I'm continuing to talk about the Dark Goddess, and this is chapter 1 talking about the Celts. Now, it starts off by saying that ancient Celts captured the modern imaginations of the few other people in classical times. Naked barbarians charging the Roman legion, Druids performing sacrifices, women fighting beside their men, even leading armies. These are the images most of us call to mind when we think about the Celts. So I'm just going to basically just kind of give you this overly simplified review of it. So, one of the things that I am going to say about this book, the author did a lot of research when the book was written. And it's very great that it is understood that the Celts were not a unified people. If they were a unified people, they probably would have been a far more danger to the Greeks and the Romans than they were. But I mean, they were like that when you were in their area. But as a unified people, as an empire, whatever, they were not a force to be reckoned with. Now, if you were in their homeland, then yes, they were a force to reckon with. The author makes it very clear that they did not commit their knowledge to paper, and the belief was that if you wrote it down, it lost its power. If you kept it orally and you had it be memorized, it had more power to it. The Celts were also a very clean people. They were the first people to use soap. And they were, it reads here that the Romans did not adopt soap for use in washing until 2 CE, instead using oil for bathing. Unlike the Romans, the Celts did not have a lust for gold. It was just something they used to adorn their, put in their hair and around their necks, and in the form of brooches that kept their cloaks fastened. That was what, to them, gold was used for. It was this really weird thing. Prior to Julius Caesar invading the Gauls, invading the Gauls, gold production was down. I don't know if it was not. I don't know if it no longer was done, or it was something that just was done every once in a while. But as soon as he defeated the Gauls, gold production went up, meaning that, which it tells me as a person reading that account that Julius Caesar only invaded the Gauls for the gold, nothing else. And also, well, take it back, also to subject the Gauls and supposedly make them civilized. It's also common knowledge that the Celts were once allies with the Greeks, and then they turned on them. And also, there's some, I don't know where I read it at. I do know that I saw a picture of a Celt on top of the statue of Horus, and so that tells me that that the Celts might have been in Egypt. But I mean, the author does a really great description about the Celts and about their daily lives. About them, they put makeup on and they wore jewelry and all that type of stuff. They talk about Celtic women, their rights. Their marriages were not religious. They were basically a contract. The author does use several books like Caesar's The Gallic Wars, the Caesar's first-hand account of his military campaigns against the Gallic tribes. He did write some truth to it, but most of it was propaganda. But yeah, so it's a very well written chapter. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I mean, I know I'm doing a lot of ums in this. But yeah, just a really great chapter. Talks about Christians' preference, that about what they viewed women. You know, they didn't view women, that they viewed women that they should not have power, even though the early Christians, a lot of them were women and a lot of them did have power. War was mentioned, and it's probably how the Morgan got her war association, because war was very prevalent. So, but chapter 1 is a pretty long chapter. Yeah, very, very long chapter. And then of course they put like their sources, which is also very important. So chapter 1 was very, very good. I really loved it. And if you are the kind of person that you really want to understand about the Celts and about what we do know about them, definitely read chapter 1. Alright, so I'm going to end it here, and probably sometime next month I will start on chapter 3. Chapter 2. But I kind of wanted to round off this month with another review of this book. So I will see you around, and luckily no flies showed up, so yay. Okay, so I'll see you guys around. Bye, and may the Morgan bless you.